In this video, we're going to talk about your income tax return for 2021, how to get more money, and what you should do with it. Let's get started. So we're in tax season, and it goes without saying, this year is far different than any other year we've seen in recent years. And why? Because of the pandemic. There are so many variables, so many changes, so many things that you need to be aware of. It's very important that you follow these first two tips that I'm going to give you regarding filing your income tax return this year. Now, before we get started, I just want to disclose I'm not a CPA or financial planner. This video is intended strictly for informational purposes only. Make sure you consult with your accountant, lawyer, or CPA regarding your taxes. Number one is you need to actually file immediately. Start filing now. If you have all your documents and everything's been provided to you, make sure you file right away. This year, February 12th was the date that they started accepting e-filing and other tax return filings. So you want to make sure that you file right away, because the sooner you file, the sooner you'll get your return. And number two, make sure you have a good accountant. Now, I have an IRS certified accountant that does our taxes for our businesses and my personal every year. And I can tell you that it makes a world of difference. He's actually familiar with the new tax code. He's familiar with the new tax changes. He can tell me things that most people will not be able to know, because he actually deals and has a direct line into the IRS. He actually previously worked for the IRS. So he has a different scope of what to expect when he's actually preparing, and what is done, and what changes have been made as per the IRS to not only protect me, but also to make sure that everything is in line. So you want to make sure that you actually, this year of all years, you want to make sure you find a very good accountant that knows the new tax laws, knows the new tax code, knows the new tax changes and tax rates, to make sure that you're not in any arrears, or make sure you're not in any line of error. There's a lot of things that have happened within the last 12 months, and you want to make sure that you are actually doing the right thing when you're filing your taxes. So having a good accountant that's familiar with the new tax law and the changes will alleviate all of that. Whether you're a single filer or married filing jointly, whether you're a W-2 or 1099 or self-employed, or when you need to know about the new tax rates, new tax laws, your good accountant will be able to give you all the scope of what's going on with the IRS currently. So that brings us to our next point, stimulus checks. So a lot of people have been wondering whether or not they have to pay taxes on their stimulus checks, and the answer is no. Stimulus checks is not earned income, so actually it's not taxable. As we know, there have been 2 rounds of stimulus checks issued, the first one being $1,200 with $500 for people with children, and also the last one that we just received, which was $600. So you're not paying any taxes on your stimulus checks, because it's not earned income. Now, the $1,200 stimulus check with the $500 bonus for people with children may go under tax credit, so you want to speak to your accountant about that. Now, the second thing is unemployment. Is unemployment tax? Yes, it is. So you have had the option, if you've taken unemployment, you've been paid unemployment, to actually opt in to have taxes removed or taken out of your unemployment payment. If you didn't do that, then basically you're going to be paying the taxes now. So that's something you want to make sure that you make your accountant aware of, so that he or she can properly structure things to make sure that taxes can be paid, because you will be paying taxes on the unemployment funds that you receive. Now, the 2 main factors to determine how much more money you're going to get from your income tax return this year are going to be tax credits, which reduce your tax liabilities, and tax deductions, which reduce your taxable income. Now, make sure you talk to your accountant about that, because they're going to be able to look at all the variables, how much money you've earned, what the tax rate is, what can be deducted, what can actually be used as a credit towards making sure that they put you in the best position to get the most money out of your tax return. Now, a very important term that you want to remember this year when you're doing your taxes is recovery rebate credit. So actually this covers wrong amounts, meaning that when you got your stimulus check, you were shortchanged. You didn't get the total amount that you were due. Maybe you actually were due a certain amount and they gave you far less. You can actually speak to your accountant to make sure that you get the right amount and you recover whatever is due you. Also, let's say, for example, you have unclaimed children. So the IRS took information from the previous year's tax filing, and they gave you a certain amount based on the number of children that they had, but then you had children within 2020. Well, you can actually, under the recovery rebate credit, you can actually tell your accountant to and make them aware. They may ask you for a copy of your child's birth certificate. They may also ask for the Social Security card or the Social Security number for the child, and you can actually get that money for that child that was born in 2020. So it's very important to keep that in mind. This is why I highly encourage people to this year, of all years, you should definitely try to see if you can use a very good accountant, because you have things like PPP, EIDL, and all these checks and all these additions have consequences. So you want to make sure that everything is placed where it needs to be. But the recovery rebate credit is a very important term that you need to remember, and make sure you speak to your accountant about it, and then make sure that you look at all your paperwork to see where you can actually find monies that can be recovered to you. This is really going to go a long way to be able to help you to be able to scale up how much money you get back on your return. In addition to that, make sure you speak to your preparer and your accountant about your child tax credit. I've included a chart here to be able to give you an idea and a snapshot of what you can expect for your situation. And the next very important point I want to make, which most people don't know about, is that you actually are entitled to get paid sick leave between $5,000 and $10,000. So if you were a self-employed person that was affected by the virus, or taking care of someone who had the virus and you had to self-quarantine, or you had a child that was out in daycare and basically you had to take care of them, you are entitled to a paid sick leave. So I'm actually going to put a chart up here to give you some details of your entitlement to that, and you can actually see the breakdown of the categories. There are 3 qualifying factors, and you need to speak to your preparer and your accountant about it to see how much money you can get for that. You'll need to basically just present some information that can put you in a qualifying position to be able to get up to $10,000 in paid sick leave. Now, the other thing you want to talk to your accountant and your preparer about is your earned income tax credit. Now, this is for low to moderate income workers with qualifying children that may be eligible to claim earned income tax credit, or EITC. Basically, certain qualifying factors apply, and you need to talk to them about it to basically put you in the best position. But this is a very important point because it's temporary relief that's been provided through the Disaster Tax Relief Act of 2020. So what does all this mean? It means that if you've done your taxes properly, you should be getting money back. And that being said, you want to take that money and you want to flip it. You want to use that money strategically to be able to not only change your situation, help your situation, but scale to the next level. It's a very important point, like I always share with members of our network and members of our academy, always. It's highly important that you always have a business. Even if you have a job, have some sort of business, because there's benefits to it. You actually get the benefits of that by having income tax deductions because you have a business. And what do you want to do with that money? You want to start a business. So the business that I highly recommend that you start today, which is something that I'm in, that I would like to invite you to join me in the business, and that is start a rent-to-own business. Yes, we've launched our rent-to-own platform where we actually are teaching people how to start and run successful rent-to-own businesses. You can earn 6 figures, 7 figures doing rent-to-own. And if you are a realtor, a wholesaler, an investor, a newbie, someone just looking to get into real estate and have consistent deals, no feast or famine situation, always having deals, always having listings, always having product, always having income coming in on a monthly basis with real estate, start a rent-to-own business today. So we'd like to actually open that up to be able to share more information with you. You can actually get more information by just going to my website, askrinde.com, click on rent to own. It'll take you down to the rent to own section where you will be able to see how to start your rent to own business. It's very important that you be an entrepreneur in some way. Even if you're not going to be a full-blown entrepreneur, have an arm where you can actually claim it as a business, because it's going to help you not only in the tax side, it's also going to really help you diversify. Have a multiple and another stream of income, which we've seen is very important, that you cannot just depend on one income anymore. You need to have at least 3. So this is what I teach. This is what I teach all our students and members of our academy and also our network nationwide. And then, you know, as we are seeing now with all the disasters that are happening, we have network members that are in some of these areas, and we're sending funds to them. We're trying to help them because we have multiple streams of income. So it's important to be shored up, as many people are moving towards having to now come up with money for forbearances. Some people will be using, monies from wherever they can pull it from. Maybe they saved their stimulus money, maybe they didn't, maybe they're taking tax returns to be able to do it, but the mortgage companies will be looking for money. So I highly encourage you to be able to not only be a good steward, make sure that when you do file your return, you're doing it properly so that you can get every dime that's due you, and also you want to make sure that you avoid any issue of liability in the future with the IRS. Again, I'd like to encourage you to start a rent-to-own business today with us right here at Ask Rinde. We look forward to inviting you into our network and actually showing you the ropes of how to actually source properties, find properties, and make money with them on a monthly basis. So if you'd like to get more information like I shared, go to askrinde.com, click on rent to own, and get started today. You can also email me, askrindenow@gmail.com, if you need more information on our rent-to-own business. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Until next time, thank you so much for watching.